Hello and welcome to another episode of Alan Revises. This is number 3, I believe, in our Injustice Club uh, take on things. What we've had today, we're about halfway through, and the gang of supervillains and otherwise have, well, they've decided to, they haven't done anything. Let me be honest here. Nothing really has happened. They've gotten together. There was one supervillain fight. There was a lot of laughs. There were a couple episodes of things and stuff. And I'm uncertain whether or not it needs more activity at this point, because unlike the normal pacing on things, where you've got, say, a movie that involves a heist, you've got a lot of the introduction of characters, you've got the preparation, you've got usually the heist or a number of mini heists that have to take place beforehand. You have a complication followed by usually another heist of some sort. Ocean's 11 is particularly good with that sort of thing, in that it all flows together very nicely, one leading into the other, and you're never bored. And because if you're boring in a movie, well, it doesn't usually go very far. All right, so we're writing in Celtx if it matters, and we're going to go to anyway, there was it's too much to get into. So anyway, Swift has decided that he's going to travel in time. No, actually he doesn't. I changed that because that was just too tiring. I was like, he's going to travel in time. No, he doesn't like traveling in time. He doesn't like risking that. As one of the fastest men alive, no, he doesn't want that. All right, so he exterior city streets. Swift blurs out onto the street. His red lightning shifts colors toward blue as he runs. Then he stops. So this is a fake out of the sort, like he's going to travel in time. No, he just, Swift halts before a stone wall, his hand vibrates, and a doorway is revealed via the quantum structure of the universe. And that's my way of saying it's basically magic. All right, Swift's future hideaway. The interior is Spartan and spare except for a number of future tech items that power on at his approach. Swift pulls off his mask to better help. Pulls off his mask. And reveals the ordinary features of an extraordinary man. He ignores the computer and instead recovers a hidden journal, a hidden paper journal. It's a paper journal titled "Future Secrets for My Past Self. Use wisely." All right, what he finds out in there, it's open to debate. But for whatever reason, it's a way for me to say when he comes back in, he's going to be operating on information that hasn't been revealed yet, which should add some tension and spice. And also, if there's going to be a sequel, we can capitalize on that. But interior conference room day. Nikara, in her current idealized form, saunters in. The others barely notice her. Tex absently passes Yardley's crayon drawing to Vitaly, who in turn pockets it. Neatly pockets it. She respects the art, even though she's, it's Yardley's drawing. Text tutor to Yardley. I'll have my engineers start work. Nikara. So, he did let you live. Nikara, apparently. Text tutor. When do you think he'll be back? Nikara, eventually. Nikara flops into a seat. Linux to Nikara. Where is he now? Nikara shrugs. Linux doesn't like being dismissed. Yardley print. Ooh, drama. I love it. It's like a puppy made of cotton candy. Every lick just makes you melt. Indrel. I don't understand. None of this is fun. I'm poisoned. Swift is gone. And, well, there isn't anything else wrong. Not yet. Yardley print says. Hey, kitty. Linux brightens up at Yardley's tone. Linux. Yes, Miss Mary? Yardley print. What do you think of the fight? Yardley gestures towards Nikara and Indrel. Linux wasn't very exciting. Needed more bite. And what we have here is we have a segue into just some bit of fun. We're going to reveal the characters. We're not really going to move the plot along, but we are going to entertain. And because this scene kind of leaped out at me, and I want to do something fun. I want to show Linux and Yardley's relationship, and also have some fun with the other characters, how they respond to that. Yardley laughs, pushes her chair all the way back to the wall as she stands, and then motions subtly to Linux. Alexa eases to her feet and smiles. Her hands make a gesture in some sort of private code with Yardley. Text tutor. Let's not get distracted here. When Yardley print ignores Tex. I always want my fights to be memorable. Yardley prowls opposite Linux. Yardley print continued, maybe with a little suddenly cups her hands like a martial master. Hadouken! There is the slightest of pauses. Then Lenexa expertly flings herself backwards as if struck by an invisible force. It is a good bit of acting that goes largely unspoiled when she rolls to her feet. Lenexa, as if in a bad lip sync. Very good, Yardley-san, but my powers are beyond your imagining. Lenexa raises up a hand a la Star Wars style. I'm not comfortable with that. We'll leave it in. Yardley backs away towards the chair she had vacated earlier. Yardley prayed, no, not the... Lenexa makes a sudden flourish. Yardley abruptly clutches at her own throat, rising with artistic grace on her chair to make it seem as though she was being choked in midair. Swift, his mask secured once more, returns in a flash of red lightning. He stares, like the others, at the odd tableau. Swift, did I miss something? Tex tutor, just a little street theater. Yardley, faking choking, turns pleadingly to Tex. Tex tutor, stop playing. This isn't what this is. They play, with lives, with the world, and it isn't because we love this life that we do the things we do. It is because of them. Those are profound words for this particular group. Yardley ceases to play and nonchalantly drops off her chair. Lenexa likewise ceases her dramatic pose a moment later. Tex tutor, now then, let us resume the meeting and advance the agenda. Yardley print, yeah, well, I can't stay. I got to organize, don't you know. Yardley heads towards the door. Tex tutor, we still need to discuss communication. Yardley turns. What's to discuss? Radios, right? Tex waits patiently. Encrypted radios? Tex tutor, those can be intercepted, decrypted, broken, but there is one method that cannot be, and it happens to be the very same method used by the Freedom Council. Everyone in the room looks to Nakara. Indril, no, she's in my veins. I will not have her in my thoughts, too. Swift, thoughtfully, it is a powerful advantage. Lenexa, sideways glance at Swift. I don't trust her that much. Yardley Prynne, me neither, but I like her sometimes. Maybe that's enough. Besides, what's another couple of voices? Everyone sneaks a glance at Yardley. Tex tutor, I understand everyone's reticence, but let us consider that telepathy has limits, does it not? Nikar, all things are limited. Indril, except eternity. Swift, and that is its limit. Lenexa, very zen. But having someone else in my head, we'll keep it friendly. You'll retain the greater part of control. Tex tutor, what is the lesser part? Nikar, no one will know what your underwear feels like, and I'll keep people from yelling too much. Tex tutor, show me. Nikar, how? Swift, you implanted images earlier. Nikar, yeah. Could you control me, like a puppet? Nikar, not you. You're too hazy. Indril, domination takes time. And effort. I don't do it often. Yardley Prynne, knowingly, weddings and funerals. So, try to puppet me. Yardley abruptly moves as if she were on puppet strings. Nikara, too much competition. Tex tutor, but it can be done. I believe we require a demonstration of the possible so that we may gauge the risk clearly. Nikara flashes an eager look. You then? Fidela steps forward. Me. Tex looks to his bodyguard and raises an eyebrow. A subtle byplay from Tex of, are you certain? Fidela is, yes, I'm your bodyguard. This is what I'm supposed to do. Followed by Tex's resign. Very well, I appreciate this, but please take care. I'm asking a lot from the actors there. So be it. Nikara, is that a yes? Fidelia, only briefly so that you can demonstrate. Nikara tilts her head ever so slightly. Fidelia abruptly falls silent. Her eyes widen. A hand moves towards her holstered pistol. Yardley Prynne, ooh, now this is tense. Lenexa, is anyone timing this? I'm obviously breaking up the drama here of mental domination with a little bit of humor. Because even though Fidelia has asked for this in a way, consent is a slippery subject. Tex watches him passively, but a nervous twitch betrays his deeper worry. Yardley rounds back to the table. She tugs a ridiculous mallet out from hiding. Fidelia's gun clears the holster slowly, despite her every effort. Otherwise. Despite her resistance. We'll just call it resistance. It will even spell it correctly, with the help of spell check. Yardley prepares to whack Nikara, but Nikara abruptly swivels her chair about. Nikara, to Yardley while Fidelia struggles. I can split my attention. All you are doing is making this less dramatic. Yardley Prynne miffed. You're not like the others. Yardley tosses her mallet aside, with a clatter. Fidelia continues to struggle against the unseen telepathic imperative. Indril to Yardley. You know other telepaths? Are any available? Swift, well, there is Grodd. Yeah, there's Gorilla Todd. Sorry, Todd. His real name's Todd. Yeah, there's Gorilla Todd. He's a gorilla. Swift, he wouldn't do it. Fidela, eyes filling with tears of strain, raises her gun towards Tex, but halfway there it pauses. Then, slowly, ever so slowly, she turns it on herself. Nakara is impressed. Oh! Tex tutor, enough! Fidela suddenly goes limp. Tex is there by her side to catch her before she hits the ground. Linuxa, there are limits, and so I'm convinced this is not an entirely terrible idea. You can tell Linux is kind of a sociopath. That's fine. Either she's not showing emotion, or she's refusing to show an emotion in front of others. Whichever way you want to go with that. You're at the print. Me too, thanks. What were we talking about? Indril, very well, but I reserve the right to withdraw from the nexus of thought at any time. Nakara, okay. Fidela, with Tex's help, gets back to her feet. Her eyes burn as she regards Nakara. Fidela holsters her weapon with more force than necessary. Tex locks eyes briefly with Fidela, then certain something, then turns. Assert. That is not the correct spelling. All right. Text tutor. Swift? Swift, let us forge a link. It would be good to be able to confront the Freedom Council, if need be, on equal terms. Text tutor. Very well. Nakara, proceed. Nakara blinks at Tex. A telepathic tone like a dirr stirs amid the air. She looks to Indril, and the telepathic chatter becomes an endless serration of the sea. Beneath Linux's telepathic sound holds a muffled heartbeat. Swift's mind is an alien buzz and crackle. But all this is drowned out by a cacophony of voices, male and female, when Yardley's mind is attached. Everyone is disturbed, even Yardley. Yardley print, can you hear them too? Nakara. All except the silent ones. Abruptly, the cacophony fades away. Linux, can you hear me? It's telepathic. Perfectly. So you'd be hearing their voices more than their... it's a sound effect. It's a special thing. Your other print, oh yeah, shifts down to a very different way. Can we do voices? Indril, apparently. Nakara, that was easy. Verbally in sync to text. Do you wish Fidela to be connected as well? Fidela shakes her head sharply. Text telepathically. Let us leave it there. Let's leave it here. Verbally in sync. Everyone has preparations ahead, do they not? Will any of them take longer than 14 hours? Possibly. Unlikely. Maybe. No. Nakara, I'll be staying here. Text tutor, it's agreed. Let us adjourn until morning. Good meeting. Good night. Swift departs with his usual speed. The rest of the assembly breaks up, exits one by one. Indril casts a waiting glance at Nakara, who remains seated before he leaves. Fidela reaches the doorway and places a hand over the lighting panel. Nakara has still not moved. Fidela, Will? Nakara waves goodbye to her, still unmoving. Fidela violently flicks off the lights. See, I'm not quite sure what that exchange is, but I'm certain that it's important somehow. And I'm certain that the actors will be able to make something of it. And that'll be good. Alright, so, interior, Tex tutor's bedroom, night. Tex pages electronically through a slate of complicated chemistry reports. He is clad in a loose silk robe and clearly prepared to sleep when he must. The chemistry part is a leftover from previously Nakara did in fact poison Indril in some way, and she gave him the antidote for him to use or analyze or whatever. But I decided to make it basically a placebo, and it's less useful. A subtle knock on the door draws his gaze up. A touch of his electronic slate reveals Fidela on the other side of the door. Text tutor, come in. Fidela enters, still very much in bodyguard mode. Text tutor, have the others settled in? Insert brief images of the others. Is it a sequence of shots? Yes. Brief images of the others. It is essentially a sequence of shots or it's not a montage, because montage would be time. It's a sequence of shots. No, it's brief. The others. Okay. Angel dives into a pool. The difference between a sequence of shot and a montage is kind of slippery sometimes. And for what I can imagine, it's a sequence of shot is simply that. It is a sequence of shots. You say, this is not a time lapse. This is not, it is just a series of shots. A series of shots? A series of shots. Angel dives into a pool and stays below the surface, his tattoos pulsing with magic. Fidelia, they are. Linixa reads an old leather-backed tome amid a well-heeled restaurant where she also devours a plate of ribs. Fidelia, all occupied. Yardley in a flourish more of costume. In a flourish of costume. Stalks back and forth before a group of mentally unstable men and women, gesturing wildly. They seem to eat it up. Fidelia, still off screen, more or less. Nikara hasn't moved from her chair amid the conference room. She stares at nothing amid the dark, her eyes bright through the night vision setting of the camera. Fidelia, all except Swift. We can't find him. Text tutor, not unexpected. Fidelia hesitates to say something. Text tutor, are you well? No. That woman, that thing is terrifying. Tex sets down his slate and makes room for Fidelia to sit on the bed. Text tutor, I know. Aliens always are. What was it like? Fidelia sits, exhausted at last. It was like falling in love, sighs. The early part, the rush, the senseless joy. Nothing made sense anymore. The boundless joy. The insensible joy. Nothing made sense anymore. I'm kind of hitting on the nose. I don't care. I got to get this apart. That what she was feeling and it has to feel raw. Text tutor, but you fought. You won. Fidelia, what if you let me? What if she is poisoning our minds right now, as she said she didn't poison Indro? Text tutor pats her hand. A risk, but I need her. Fidelia, she made certain of that. Text tutor, I know, and for that there will be a reckoning. Fidelia is interested. She'll expect it. Text tutor, yes, but you'll manage. Fidelia, I love it when you give me warm work. Fidelia squeezes Tex's hand warmly, then rises. She is calm once more. Is there anything else? Tex picks up his slate. Get some sleep. Fidelia isn't sure about that. Take a pill if need be. What if something happens? What if one of them attacks? What if one of them... attacks? There's probably a better way to say that. Well, does something. Does something. And we'll put it in italics, in that it's more than just an attack. It could be a thing. It could be anything. And she's a bodyguard. She's supposed to look after those things. Text tutor, I don't know what you could do much. I don't know that you could do much against any of them without extensive preparation. Tex rises, annoyed by his own words. He stands and stalks. That is the trouble with that sort of personal power, the kind that the Altman, the erroneous savior of mankind, embodies. They idly make choices, and we suffer. These are would-be gods in bright colors. In bright tights. In bright tights. In colorful tights. Would Yardley be an exception? A subtle point. Madness has a power too. She shatters all bonds and walks upon the broken glass, bleeding and doomed. But it is something she harnessed, and I think the burden is balanced with her. Do you pity her? If anything, she is an inspiration. Good night, Fidelia. Sleep well. Darkness fills the room. Tex sleeps like an innocent babe, which is a good juxtaposition because people don't want to think that villains sleep well at night. They often do. Psychopaths have no problem with that. Sociopaths do sometimes if they can't separate it, but, there you go. Yardley print, telepathic. I've got moose munchkins. Tex bolts it right, startled out of a deep sleep. Text tutor, Yardley focuses, and then they use a telepathic. Yardley, that's me, and I've got mooses and mises. The next said telepathic. Which mooser is it? Interior, warehouse, night. We're headed into some action, finally. The already disorganized warehouse is full of chaos as a shadowy figure darts about the fringes of the poorly lit interior, picking off Yardley's not-so-happy henchmen. Yardley, in her brightly colored attire, pulls herself atop an equally colorful bland and racks a bolt of a fearsome automatic rifle. It's one of the double M's. No, I don't keep track. She opens fire, sending a scythe of bullets at the figure. The figure hurls something sharp and shiny at her. She just barely evades it. All right. Things. I don't need to show that. We'll get the action first. How certain are you that it is one of the Moosers? Yardley glances. She jerks back. Just in time. Yardley glances down at a distinctive yet vibrating M-shaped piece of metal lodged in the stock of her weapon. Pretty sure. All right, Tex to his bedroom. Tex swings his legs over the side of the bed and heads for the bathroom. Through the telepathic link, rises up, cries of fear, gunfire, and the louder, clearer thoughts of the others. We will need to avert this. Swift, crackle, and static. Were I to intervene, it would cause significant comment. The Flents would become involved. Linuxa, if Double M saw me and Yardley together, he'd know we were doing a heist. Something the same applies to me. X parts into mid-side and lets out a sigh. Text tutor, Nakara? Amid the shadowy interior of the conference room, Nakara lets slip a knowing grin. I'm sure I can hide my identity. A moment later, Swift enters, the red ribbons of his lightning flaring the room into something infernal. He snatches Nakara up and out, leaving only the chair she was sitting in to spin lazily about. Tex turns on the tap and splashes his face with water. Text tutor, you must choose your approach wisely, and time slows. The water spills down in discernible droplets. Text tutor, telepathic. Hold on, does anyone else see that? Linuxa, lazing on the bed amid her many tomes of lore, is likewise frozen in mid-quirk of eyebrow and turn of page. Linuxa, I feel it. Amid Indrel's private poolside room, he is nearly naked with his tattoos bright and a magical aura about him. He, too, moves slowly in time. Indrel, it is an interaction of swift speed and Nakara's telepathy. Do not worry after it, so long as these moments remain moments. Through night-swept streets, Swift carries Nakara at what appears to be a normal speed amid time slowed at a normal run. Amid time-slowed streets. Swift glances over and finds Nakara looking looking at him with that knowing alien grin. Indeed. Text tutor, well then, let's discuss technique. Warehouse. Yardley is time-slowed as she leaps off the van. She tosses aside the automatic rifle and lunges for her mallet. Change yourself into something, Yardley Print, change yourself into something colorful enough that it'll distract the brat away and let us play. Angel, I have some ideas. Nakara, I expect you do. Yardley sees an M-shaped shuriken coming for her and brings the mallet around to, ever so slowly, knock it aside. When she's time slowed, obviously she's got better reflexes, can tell what's going on, and make adjustments. This gives her an immense advantage. Tex tutor, telepathic. Let's have some suggestions based on our knowledge of the opponent in question. Linux, telepathic. Stay female. That always seems to help. Yardley Print, but not too sexy. That's not the point. The time slowed Yardley touches the ground. A time slowed Yardley. Thank you. Touches the ground and begins a combat roll towards the silhouette that wields a slender staff to great effect on a pair of henchmen. Against a pair of henchmen. Swift, telepathic. I disagree. You really can't be excessive in this. Indrel, telepathic. Perhaps something physically exotic to better confuse them. Oh. Nakara, telepathic. Miss Black was the old character. I said, Text tutor, I see a junction. How familiar are we with the Assyrian pantheon? There's a rumble of acknowledgement from Swift and Linuxa, followed by bafflement from Indrel. Yardley Print, telepathic. It's pronounced Syria. Nakara gives an odd giggle that everyone reacts to with surprise. Oh, sorry. Old joke, apparently. Old joke. Text tutor. Yes, it is. Now then, she was told that by Miss Black is actually her stepmother, and I'm not going to get into who Miss Black is because we don't have time for that. And secrets are always fun. Text tutor. Yes, it is. Now then, allow me to suggest something that I think we can all agree on will be unique. Time revs back up. Yardley and a shadow double M. A young man entering his prime of crime-fighting years. Exchanges a fearsome series of attacks, counters, and dodges. Yartman's henchmen rally, Yardley's and close in. Double M drops a smoke bomb that fills the warehouse with greasy, nigh impenetrable smoke. Ah, I hate that. Couldn't you at least make it lavender scented or something? Double M. Hiding, using ventriloquism. You don't want to talk about being in a rut, Yardley. What is it going to be this time? Bombs or guns? Guns or bombs? A series of thuds echo out in the obscuring smoke. Struck henchmen stagger about left and right. Yardley print. Who said anything about doing anything? I know I didn't unless I did, and even then I still didn't. Double M. Hidden, using ventriloquism. You're too smart for me. Yardley print. You have no idea. A distant boom echoes through the warehouse. Yardley grins knowingly. Hidden, using ventriloquism. Double M says. Did you rig this place to explode? How cliche. Yardley print. Ah, it's worse than that. Loads worse. See, you went and woke her up. Double M. Her? Double M gives an inattentive henchman a whack on the head to knock the thug out, then retreats into the shadows. Something stirs amid the now vanishing smoke. Something taller than any ordinary human has a right to be, and yet nonetheless moves with an absurd grace. A figure charges straight for Double M. At the last moment, he peels away to reveal. A moment, the smoke peels away to reveal the approximation of an ancient goddess, Nihilia, or Lady of the Wind, clad in impossibly bright colors and adorned with an immense crown-like headdress that belongs in a museum. An actual depiction of I believe, an Assyrian goddess. Reflexively, Double M reflexively hurls shuriken. Those strike true, but Nakara, disguised as Nihila, ignores the impacts. From behind lush lips slide sharp fangs as she bores in. A raucous, no-holds-barred fight breaks out as Nakara's unearthly form seeks to grasp and grapple, spelled correctly, with the more martially adept Double M. Yardley watches it as the fight goes back and forth. Watches. Text tutor, telepathic. Yardley print. Yeah, I'm going. Yardley heads for the van, rallying her henchmen with every step. Let's see. Exterior warehouse night. Yardley's van exits the warehouse and drive off into the night as smoke pours out from inside the building. Nakara, telepathic. What happens if I win? The lead van screeches to a halt. The lead van. The last van screeches to a halt. Yardley print. What? Text tutor. An interesting question. A series of small explosions erupt inside the warehouse. Nakara. Oh, never mind. The lead van resumes accelerating away. Yardley print. Telepathic. It's probably for the best. I don't have enough cucumbers. The vans turn the corner. In the distance, the lights of police cars approach the warehouse from the opposite side. I think we should leave it off. Now we'll go a little further. Exterior, city day. The sun rises on a very early morning bustle of the city. A solitude figure, Nakara, makes her way towards Text Tutor's distant and imposing structure. Headquarters. It's his headquarters. Sounds better. Lenixa falls in step with her, the two women walking side by side. Lenixa, long night? Nakara, it fell short. Lenixa, we're headed in the back way, but Tex asked me to do the usual screening for tracers in person. Nakara, I found three. Lenixa steps to an ordinary-looking lamppost whose bulb flickers overhead in the gathering dawn. This feels tingly. Lenixa, you sound tired. No sleep? Nakara, too much water. Lenixa, you should head to the desert after this. There is comfort in barren solitude. Lenixa places a hand atop the post. A low thrum fills the air. Lenixa, anything in Linux you want to save? Lenixa also touches the post. The low thrum increases. Lenixa, not even a phone? Nakara says, I've been told not to bother. Probably smart. That sugar crunch game is addictive. The thrum fades. Condemned building. Lenixa leads the way into a studiously condemned building and heads for an elevator adorned with an out-of-order sign. Lenixa, Swift seems to trust you now. Nakara, we had a good talk. I like him. You like him. He likes you. I like circles. Lenixa, they're amazing. The elevator door opens and a fierce blue girl spills out as a fully empowered Indril is revealed. Lenixa backing off. Oh, that's for you. Nakara, are you sure? Nakara, the angel says, Nakara, know that Tex Tutor has cured me of your fell poison. Soon I shall have my vengeance, but not before our task is complete. Nakara. Okay. Indral blinks. Lennox peeks inside the elevator, hiding her fully unsheathed claws that fray the edge of her cuffs. Lennox, to Indral, was that enough? We should get going. We should get going. Indral glowers for a moment, then relents. Interior, security room. Tex Tutor watches the three wait in the elevator as it descends. Faint music is the only sound that can be heard from the speakers. Beside him, Fidelia gives a little nod. Fidelia, no tracking, no following. Tex Tutor, that's something. Though I expect Swift would have good. Excellent. And I expect Swift would have said something if it were otherwise. Fidelia, would he have? Tex Tutor, he takes this seriously. He's not a professional like Miss Minerva. Ooh, I can't tell you. Like, how did I spell Lenexa? That's funny. Lenexa. But it amounts to the same thing as in this. Lenexa remains ready to pounce. In the screen, Lenexa remains ready to pounce. Lenexa, have you figured them all out yet? Tex Tutor, I believe so, or close enough that it won't matter. Fidelia, even Yardley? Tex Tutor, Yardley prizes friendship, and I don't mean the getting lunch every Saturday kind, but the sort that involves pigtails and rhymes. She grew up isolated, trapped in a cerebral environment that she only recently escaped. Tex looks into another security screen. It shows Yardley in the midst of a warehouse shepherding her people into stuffing a semi-trailer with balloons. Alright, we need to put that forward here. Peers. That says add another security monitor. Yardley is all but herding cats inside of the warehouse. Yardley is all but herding cats to trying to get her hired clowns. She turns to a horrifying demo mime. Yardley friend to the demo mime. Do we have enough for this? The demo mime responds in a mind-positive way that amuses her. Yardley friend, yell if you need anything. A sudden whoosh makes her turn to find a big helium clown sucking on a balloon. Helium clown, high-pitched voice. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Yardley snatches the balloon out of his hand and sucks in a bit of helium. Yardley's super squeaky voice. Stop doing that. It's hilarious. Yardley returns the mostly deflated balloons. Yardley. Play to all. Everyone gets one balloon of their own. Only one. Make it count. Because it's funny. Alright. So then we have the final conference before they go on the thing, and we're going to have to leave it here for next time. But we are progressing on this. The heist is about to take place. There should be some anticipation. We've had some laughs. And we're ready to move forward on things, despite some spelling issues and other changes that had to be made. I dislike when I did change Nakara, like I said, from Miss Black. Miss Black was too powerful a character to put into this. And to be honest, she didn't completely fit, and was something of a Mary Sue besides, and I so dislike those. So, we're going to end this episode of Alan Revises. I hope you've enjoyed this little walk down the revision lane, and hope that you have some guidance as to what you might want to do with your own work down the line as it comes. But I hope you have a good day, and thank you.